Hey everybody, this is Anthony from VR Game Rankings. Welcome to another episode of our daily vlog series. This is episode 25 for Friday, November 3rd. We have come to the end of another week. We are now in the month of November and we are continuing to move forward. And November has a lot of exciting things coming later this month, and we might get into that a little bit later on this show. I will tell you that the news is pretty light on this show. I don't really have a lot to get into today. I had some personal things going on yesterday. I didn't get much chance to play VR games, so I don't really have like any exciting new takes about games that I played yesterday or anything like that. So might have a little bit of a shorter episode today. This could be the shortest episode we've had so far, but everybody seems to like the shorter episodes, so I guess that's kind of the way we're going to go here. Okay, so the number one news story is probably this Logitech story. So Logitech announced their Bridge SDK, which is basically they have this little hardware device that is going to snap onto the corner of some of their gaming keyboards. I don't know if it's just one very specific gaming keyboard or if it's multiple gaming keyboards, but what it will do is it will work with a Vive tracker. You'll be able to attach a Vive tracker to this little bracket that snaps onto the corner of the keyboard. And then what this will do is it will combine with their software and it will allow you to actually have your keyboard tracked in virtual reality. And so you'll be able to see your keyboard, you'll be able to type. It even shows, like on the video that they show for this, it shows looking at your hands and like actually seeing your fingers like you have a leap motion, which they don't mention anything about using a leap motion. I'm not sure if it's actually maybe using the little camera that's on front of the Vive and it's somehow sensing your fingers and mapping it to the keyboard. Or maybe, I don't think it would be like touch sensitive where the keyboard itself is knowing where your fingers are. I think that would be a little bit complicated. But yeah, they showed off a video. It looks really cool. I mean, this is something that we've thought about for a long time, is when are we going to get other devices in VR? And one of the things that I always thought is I thought that you would be able to buy little sensors, okay? And you would be able to maybe peel the sensors off almost like a sticker. Like you'll be able to buy a pad of Oculus sensors that would have numbers. They would have very specific numbers for them. You would peel it off, you would attach it to a cup, or you would attach it to your keyboard or to your desk or to chairs. And then you would be able to go into Steam and you would input that number in and say what it is, and then it would show up in VR. I thought that's something that could be done. Obviously, it must be a lot more complicated than that because we've never seen that. Now, it's funny that this uses the Vive trackers because we could almost go into another story of what is the deal with the Vive trackers. Now, I might be getting my dates wrong here, but I thought last year, like 2016, I thought at the end of 2016 we knew about these Vive trackers. And I thought because, you know, Cloudgate Studios, the developers, or not Cloudgate, is it Cloudgate? I mix up Cloudgate, Cloudhead, Cloudlands VR. I mean, there's so many cloud things, but maybe it's Cloudgate Studio. The guys that make Island 359, they had the Vive tracker and they were attaching Vive trackers to their legs and they were showing how you could kick dinosaurs and all this stuff. What the hell ever happened to the Vive tracker? I thought we were in 2016 looking forward to the Vive tracker in early 2017. Well, here we are. It's November 3rd of 2017. This year is almost done. And Vive trackers, to the best of my knowledge, are nowhere to be found. You can't get a Vive tracker. Developers can get Vive trackers, but nobody else can. Now, the delay for the Vive trackers is probably related to the fact of the new lighthouses that are going to be coming out. The Lighthouses 2.0, and it needs to have a new sensor, the new sensors that are going to be on these new headsets, so that it is backwards compatible and forwards compatible with the new lighthouses. So I'm guessing that if they're going to bring these trackers out, the trackers have to work with existing lighthouses, but they also have to work with new lighthouses as well. Otherwise, it would be very problematic. So it's quite possible that the retail availability of these trackers has been delayed because of the whole sensor, the new lighthouses, and they're probably waiting for Valve. I'm guessing that a lot of companies are kind of they're kind of just waiting for Valve to finalize things, but that could be part of the reason we don't have the LG headset. Companies could simply be waiting for Valve to finalize their final designs so that they know that they're not manufacturing a whole bunch of things and Valve changes their mind and changes it slightly, and then those things are not going to be compatible. So it's kind of one of those kinds of situations. But if we ever do actually get Vive trackers, if they ever actually go into widespread adoption where people can just buy them and anybody can have a Vive tracker, then maybe this Bridge SDK for keyboards would be pretty cool. Honestly, I don't really notice myself wanting to type in VR, although we're getting to the point now with with Oculus Dash and with all of these different things where the Windows Cliff House and stuff like that, where you can start putting in web browsers in different parts of your environment. So you would want to have an ability to type, because trying to do some type of virtual typing thing would kind of suck. So, I mean, it would be cool to get your keyboard into VR. I don't know how it's going to work with the play spaces and stuff, because like my PC is like way over there. And is it a wireless keyboard that you would just take anywhere? Or I'm not sure exactly how this works, but there's also interesting possibilities for how it could be integrated into actual VR games that could support it, where in part of the VR game, there is a keyboard that you have to go up to. Maybe you're a spy and you're hacking into a system. There's some interesting things that might be able to be done as far as that goes. So that's been announced. It's a big story. A lot of people are talking about that on Reddit. Another little story that we got, Marvel Powers United VR. Now, we know that this is one of Oculus's really big games for 2018. This is supposedly coming relatively early in 2018, I think spring or so. It's being developed by Sanzaro Games. Now, that's the developer that did VR Sports Challenge. They also did Ripcoil, so they have a lot of familiarity with Oculus Studios and working with Oculus. And this game, Marvel Powers United VR, it's actually running on the Robo Recall game engine. If you saw some of the early trailers for Marvel Powers United VR, it's pretty obvious that it is absolutely using the Robo Recall game engine, which is not necessarily a bad thing, because if you've got a good game engine that's working well and it does a lot of things well, you can take that game engine and you can reskin it and then add additional stuff as well. So it's not just going to be Robo Recall with a Marvel skin on top, although it kind of seems like that at first blush. But Sanzaro Games is going to work a lot more interesting things in there. They're going to add a lot more stuff. So they're going to make it their own thing. But it is running on that Robo Recall game engine. So it should have pretty good performance and should look really good. So why is this in the news? It's in the news because you can actually go to certain Best Buy locations today and play a demo version of Marvel Powers United VR. A demo version is available. It's also available in Europe as well. It's available in the UK at Curry's PC World and John Lewis stores in the UK, and FNAC locations in France. Fnac, or I'm not sure how you pronounce that, but FNAC locations in France, Curry's PC World and John Lewis stores in the UK, and Best Buy locations in the USA. Now, it's not at every single one of these locations, so you want to check, go to the Oculus blog, you'll see this story, and then you can check and see what locations are participating. I actually have a Best Buy that isn't too incredibly far from me that is doing a demo for Marvel Powers United VR. And so if I was over by there, I would want to try it. It's just whenever it comes to these demo things, it's not necessarily a situation where you show up and the demo is always running and it's always there and it's always ready. Sometimes you have to go to like the Best Buy, you got to go to the computer area, you got to ask them, hey, is there an Oculus demo? And then they're like, oh yeah, we got to go get a guy. And it's like 45 minutes later, and then finally you're in the demo and you're playing like a 10-minute demo of something. I don't know that it's that incredible now if it was a demo for Fallout 4 VR, I would be there like as soon as this is over. I would drive out and go check it out, because I'm much more excited about something like Fallout 4 VR, despite all the issues that it may have, than Marvel Powers United VR. I'm not that into like Marvel superheroes. It's cool, but I'm not like hardcore into that, so it's not that big of a deal for me. But it is cool that they have this demo available. A lot of people on the Oculus subreddit are kind of complaining and saying, why are you doing this? Why not have a demo available for everybody? Why not have a demo that we can try in our headsets? And the reason they do this is, if the demo was just available for everybody, it wouldn't have quite the hype that it has, where you have to go to a Best Buy to be able to try this, So I think that might be part of it. And then maybe what will happen is, like, say a week or so or a couple weeks from now, this demo will be made available on the Oculus store and everybody will be able to get to sample it. That's a possibility. But yeah, if you have a Best Buy location near you that is offering this, you might want to check it out. I believe there's 4 or 5 different characters you get to try. I know the Hulk is one of them, Thor is one of them, Captain Marvel, a couple other different characters that you get to try out. And it'd be cool to try it out, just to kind of see, like, is this just Robo Recall reskin? Does it really feel different? How does it look? How is it performing? Those kinds of situations. It'd be kind of cool to check it out. I don't anticipate that I'm going to be driving over to that Best Buy to check it out, but if I happen to be in that area for some other reason, then I might just, quickly bounce over to the Best Buy and try to get a quick demo. Next story we got is the Pimax Kickstarter has reached 4 million. Yes, this Kickstarter just will not stop. It just keeps going. It has now hit 4 million. And I'm not following this too much, but apparently now what you're going to have is you're going to have an option to choose between thumbsticks or trackpads for your controllers. So it's kind of an either or option. So you can choose in your order, I want thumbsticks, or you can say, I want trackpad, and you'll get the controllers with the thumbsticks, or you'll get the controllers with the trackpad based on your choice. When I think about that, to me it sounds like, I don't know, man, Pimax, like one guy, I was reading one thread on this, and this one guy came in here and said that every time they add a new stretch goal and they add something else, this is just going to add an additional delay in when these headsets are actually going to come. And he was saying, look, you people think you're going to get this thing in January. There's no freaking way you're going to get this in January. All these things keep adding to it. There's Kickstarter requirements. They're going to have to add all this stuff to it. It's going to take months and months. He was kind of insinuating that no one's going to be using a Pimax headset until like May or something of 2017, or even after, 2018, like May 2018, June 2018 is when people are going to finally get these Pimaxes. And the fact that they're giving you the option of choosing a thumbstick or a trackpad, in his opinion, was a bad idea, because they should have a vision and they should stick to it. It shouldn't be so wishy-washy. And he was kind of saying, look, they're just throwing everything at the wall and they're seeing what sticks. And it's going to take a long time for them to actually finalize everything and put it all together and have it all in the right way. So, it's kind of interesting as far as that goes. My take on the Pimax thing is like, I don't know. I'm just waiting for a bigger company. If this was Samsung, it'd be a different story for me. If it was like some major Pimax, I've never heard of Pimax, and it could turn out to be wonderful. It could turn out to be great, but I'm not going to be the guy. I'm not going to be the beta tester. People get these things and they're great. a lot of people think, hey, you got to get in on this Kickstarter, because if you don't get in on this Kickstarter, you could be waiting many, many months to finally get a normal retail version of this after the Kickstarter people finally get theirs. I'm not so sure about this. This is a Chinese company, right? They're manufacturing these things. The Kickstarter is just like, they're going to do the Kickstarter thing, but they're going to continue to pump out units and units and units. So I don't see why this won't be available very quickly within a relative time frame after Kickstarter backers get it. So my thought process, it's the same thing as the wireless adapters, is like, I want to let real everyday people get their hands on these wireless adapters, and then, and try this stuff out, give me the real world reports of it, and then I can say, okay, it does seem to be legit. Now I'll go ahead and buy one, and maybe I'll be a little bit late to the party because of that, but I would rather do that. That's just my personal opinion. And then also, I'm still kind of waiting to see what other shoes drop, and I've said it repeatedly. I want the 2.0 lighthouses, and I want them to be officially 2.0. I want Knuckles controllers in the box, real legitimate Knuckles controllers, not a knockoff, not a imaginary Knuckles. I want the real thing, and I want it all together. And I'm assuming that in early 2018 we're going to find out about a legitimate headset, maybe LG. Again, one thing I mentioned too with this Pimax thing is, have you ever heard a Valve employee utter the word Pimax? I haven't. I haven't seen a quote anywhere where a Valve employee has made any mention of Pimax whatsoever. Now, I know they have to have some kind of licensing to do this, but it still is a little bit worrying to me that no one from Valve has ever mentioned Pimax as far as I know. So, because a lot of people, like I know this one guy was saying, well, they have the designs for the 2.0 lighthouses. Now, they can't actually get them from Valve, but they have the actual final design, and they're going to build the 2.0 lighthouses. And I'm like, okay, where's this information coming from? Like, what confirmation do you have of this? I mean, I don't know. To me, it's a little sketch, but you guys that are in this Pimax Kickstarter and you're hoping for the best, I hope everything works out. Steve, I know, backed it. I think Gary might have backed it as well, but I think they both decided that they might back out of it. Like, they have a certain number of days where they could change their mind and back out of it. So, if either Gary or Steve get their hands on a Pimax, I hope everything works out. I hope it's awesome and amazing and all of that. But I'm going to be a little bit more cautious. That's just going to be my thought process. Okay, so Target. Now, I actually had a question on one of the recent daily vlogs where someone was asking about the new PlayStation VR model. Now, PlayStation is coming out with a new model that is going to have some slight alterations. Nothing really major is going to be changed. The location of where you plug in your headphones and the dongle is no longer there. There are certain things that were changed with this new version of the PSVR headset, and I don't have the guy's name, sorry about that, but I was asked a question, do you know, like, when is this coming out? I want to buy one of these. Or maybe I had a family member that was looking to buy one, and he was trying to find out, when is this going to come out? Well, we still don't know exactly. That they should start to leak out now, but what I will say is I have another story where Target has the older PSVR model 25% off right now if you use the Cartwheel app. But this is only good till November 4th. So that's tomorrow. That's Saturday, November 4th. So it's good today. Now, if you're in the USA and you're looking for a PlayStation VR, you can get one for about $225 at Target if you use this 25% app. Now, I don't know if the $225 price is also factoring in another 5% if you're using the red card, or maybe you can get it a little bit lower if you're also using the red card. But it's not a bad deal if you want a brand new PlayStation VR unit. And the differences between the old one and the new one, it's not a huge difference. It's mostly for people that have really high-end 4K TVs that have the high dynamic range. That's really what it's about. But yeah, I mean, originally when they talked about this new PSVR headset, they said mid-October, mid-October to around the 20th of October, somewhere around that time frame is when these new versions would start leaking out. But people on the, people out there in retail that have been trying to find these have reported that they can't find a new model. Another little side story is that the PlayStation VR Gran Turismo Sport Bundle is now available for pre-order, and it's releasing on November 10th for $399.99. Now, at first blush, I thought, oh, okay, this is the new headset, right? This is a new bundle. It's coming out on November 10th. This is the Gran Turismo bundle. Why they're putting that game into a VR bundle, I don't know, because the VR support is really lame in that game, in my personal opinion. But the thing is, it's not the new headset. Some people have looked into this more closely, and it's apparently not necessarily the new headset that's in this Gran Turismo bundle. I actually have the model number for the new headset is CUH-ZVR2. So if you look on the PlayStation VR box, if you see ZVR1, like CUH-ZVR1, that's the original model. If you see CUH-ZVR2, that is the new model. And another way to differentiate this is the picture that you'll see on the box. It will show the headphone thing looking different, like the little earbud headphone thing. It will look different on that picture, and that's the way to notice whether it's the new box or the old box. And there's been discussion on the PSVR subreddit about what's going on here with the new model and the old model, and some people are of the opinion that this is kind of more of a quiet revision, and it's not necessarily like all stock of the new model is going to be gone, and then of the old model, all stock of the old model is going to get cleared out, and then the new one will be available, and you're guaranteed to get the new one, and everybody's getting the new one. It seems more to be kind of like a whatever happens kind of a thing, that new ones are going to start leaking out there, but you don't necessarily go to every Target and they have brand new ones there. So it's going to be kind of more of a slow leakage for these new ones to come out. And if you do have that HDR television and you want to get that new processor box, it would be irritating to not know how you get the new one and guarantee that you have the new one. You know what's going to happen is people are going to start finding these new ones, and they're going to put them on eBay and sell them for like an extra 60, 70 bucks just because it's guaranteed to be the new model, and some people want to get the new model. So anyway, we're about at the 25-minute mark, not quite. I just wanted to mention that at VR Game Rankings, I have now added a top 200 Vive game rankings. And one of the reasons I added this is because every time I was doing the top 100 Vive games or the top 100 Oculus Rift games as well, and I need to do a top 200 for that, and I will be doing a top 200 for that in the near future. But every time I was doing the top 100 Vive game rankings, I was always amazed at how many great games would miss that top 100. And it varies month to month. You know, we get submissions from VR gamers, and we just go off the submissions that we get. And sometimes certain games will be high on certain months, other times they won't. And it's just quite random because we get a random participation of people submitting their top 20 HTC Vive games. And so the top 100 list, it changes all the time. And there's some big games that get left off the list. In fact, let me take a look here because I have my top 200 list up here. So at 99 is Robinson the Journey. At 100 is Fantastic Contraption. So that's the end of the normal top 100. And I'm going to list off some games that didn't make the top 100. Abduction did not make the top 100. Eagle Flight did not make the top 100. Werewolves Within, Richie's Plank Experience, Tethered, Unseen Diplomacy, Ghost Town Mine Ride, Dread Halls, Virtual Sports, Carnival Games VR, Knockout League, Vanishing of Ethan Carter, Redout Enhanced Edition, Giant Cop, Loco Dojo, the Golf Club VR, Theseus, VR the Diner Duo, Water Bears VR, VTOL VR, which is that flight sim game, American Truck Simulator, Eve Gunjack, A10 VR, Out of Ammo, HoloDance. So, you know, that's a sample of some of them. I just read the from number 101, which is Abduction, to number 125 is HoloDance. But that's an example of some of these games that they just don't make the top 100 that particular month for whatever reason. And some of those are some big time primetime games. And I could have made like a top 150, but I just said, you know what, let's just make a top 200. There's enough games out there to make a top 200. Now, I am kind of scraping the bottom of the barrel as we get down. Let me take a look at like the very end of this top 200 to give you an example of some of the bottom of the barrel scrape. Well, number 200 is Jibo Man. You know, Jibo Man makes the list at number 200. King Kaiju is 197. Tales of Glory is 193. Please Don't Touch Anything 3D is 191. Blarp is 186. Lunar Flight is 190. Galgun is 183. Special Delivery is 181. Anyways, if you guys want to take a look at the top 200 HTC Vive games, it is now on the website. I'm still updating a lot of these game profile pages. That's one of the major things that I'm working on right now is I have a lot of potholes that are on the website, game profile pages that if you click on it, it just says review coming soon and it looks really ugly. So I'm trying to fix those, make those look better. But yeah, I'm going to do a top 200 for the Oculus, of course. PlayStation VR doesn't have 200 games. We do have a top 100, and I was already kind of scraping the barrel to get a top 100 PlayStation VR games because PlayStation VR, there might be like 125 PlayStation VR games, like grand total, like all of them, you know. So I was able to make a top 100, but definitely not a top 200. It'll probably be a while before we get a top 200. But I think it's cool to have a top 200 list because then if you just look at the top 100, there might be a few key games that don't make that list. So I think having a top 200 is a good idea. It's something I probably should have had a long time ago, but I'm going to go ahead and do this going forward. Every time we update the top 100, the top 200 will also be updated as well. And I think that will be good for new Vive owners that want to know, you know, what are the best games out there. And we'll be doing that for Oculus as well. So anyway, guys, that's basically going to do it. Ended up at 29 minutes anyway because I kept talking too long. So that's going to go ahead and do it for our final show of this week. Once again, this is, let me see what episode it is. It is episode 25 for Friday, November 3rd, and this is going to wrap it up. And of course, we do not do episodes on Saturday and Sunday, so I will see you guys on Monday, November 6th. For episode 26, and I'll see you guys then. Take it easy and have a great weekend. Later.